Welcome back, everybody, to Monster Truck Challenge. You know, the USHRA brings its great events all over our country. And great first-round action has brought us to round two. And so here are the survivors. Rolling into round two, it's Ray Porkowski's Invader on the line against Tough It Up. Joey Pittman had a nice opening round. And the other semifinal race has Fast Loser Jersey Outlaw against the Buffalo Tremor. So that's who's still in the hunt. And leading the charge in round two, the voice of Monster Truck Challenge, Joe Lowe.
Onward and upward in Anaheim. The crowd pumped up and ready for round number two. The Monsters are at the starting line. Ray Porkowski and the Invader, Joey Pittman, and Tough Enough. Pittman's on the line right now out of Phoenix, Arizona. He's going up against Ray Porkowski and the Invader. Thumbs up from the Invader. There they go. And Invader with a great hole shot. Pittman had trouble on the starting line. And the Invader easily winning. Ray Porkowski moves on to our championship race. But what happened to Tough Enough? Ray Porkowski's looking back to see where Tough Enough is. He won the race, but Joey Pittman and Tough Enough going back in the pits. Apparently what happened on this run, and we can see it here, off the line, he lost the rear drive shaft. In doing that, it knocked the bolt that holds the rear steer steady. So the rear tires are free-flowing. Joey's having to drive with the front and no drive shaft pushing the tires in the back. He can't control the truck. Tough Enough is just out of there. There's no way for that truck to get across these cars. The Invader wins in Monster Truck Challenge in Anaheim. Our next matchup will pit this truck, Nick Rossi's Outlaw, the truck that's had lots of engine problems today, against Johnny Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Tremor. Now, Nick Rossi's Outlaw does not appear to be smoking now.
We're running on a spare motor right now. We got a lot of bugs we got to work out of it before we can switch over.
Well, I'll tell you what, it looks like the track a little hazardous, is it?
Yeah, the track's real rough. I'm down on horsepower right now, which has kind of helped me. The horsepower isn't going to win the race tonight.
So that answers the question as to why we don't see any smoke. He's got a brand new engine in the Jersey Outlaw. Johnny K and the Buffalo Tremor's been running strong all day long. A Chevy Ford matchup in Anaheim. One goes to the finals, one goes to the trailers. Will it be the Outlaw or the Tremor? There they go. Outlaw with a hole shot. Horsepower, he says, will not win it. But Johnny K does defeat the Jersey Outlaw. John Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Tremor, almost an instant replay of that previous race as he's faltering on the starting line and then catches him right here. He turns it on and has mastered this track on that second set of cars. John Kwasniewski and the Tremor will take on the Invader in our championship. And what happened to the Outlaw? Well, nothing really. He said he had some horsepower problems, a new engine, a lot of bugs to work out. And this was a good run for a guy who just put a brand new engine in his truck for the first run on this engine.
Now, that's the kind of racing action you can expect to see when you go to a monster truck race. And we're set for more Monster Madness in just a moment after these very important words from our sponsors on ESPN.
The fans at the Providence, Rhode Island Civic Center were treated to some great mud racing. When you come to a United States Hot Rod Association show, if you have a chance to see the mud racing, be sure to check it out because it's some of the most exciting racing you're going to find anywhere. What's mud racing? There's a mud racing pit that's 80 feet long, 3 feet deep. The vehicles literally skim over this 80-foot-long pit of mud, and then they have an 80-foot shutdown area. They must stop within that 80 feet or they're disqualified. Now, one of the greats in the sport is four-time world champion Tom Martin and his Super Trooper. And he's going to demonstrate a run for you. He skims across the mud. And you can see right here the cord that's attached to the back of the vehicle. That is the ignition interrupter. It pulls out after 80 feet and shuts down the engine. After that, it's all brakes. Now, here are some of the vehicles we have here today. This is the S-Kicker, Jeremy Finley. out of Virginia. Skims across the mud, and it's Shutdown City. A great run for Jeremy Finley, 22 years of age, out of Boone's Mill, Virginia. The S-kicker picking up a little bit on the start, straightens things out, and across the finish line, then the big shutdown, pulls a little bit sideways, but a great run, 1.748 seconds for Jeremy Finley. Let's boogie. This is Tony Friotti out of Michigan. This is a 1927 Model T Roadster, skimming across the mud. He shuts down. No problem at all for Tony. And Let's Boogie is moving on. Tony discussing with his crew that run. That was a good one for Let's Boogie. Again, over the mud. Mud going everywhere in the arena. He comes across the finish line, shuts down, applies the brakes hard. And no problem for Let's Boogie. The time, 1.861 seconds. Next up is 19-year-old Matt Ward. Matt out of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and the Mystic Warrior. Through the mud he goes. Does he shut down? Yes. Yes, with plenty of room to spare. The 19-year-old has mastered this course in Providence, Rhode Island. One more time through the mud. 80 feet with no problem. He skims right across it. The brakes go on hard. On our next replay, you'll notice that Matt has lined up beside the ruts. Right beside him, he decides to just cut his own way down this course, and this has worked for him. Through the mud, Matt Ward moves on in the big Ford. 1.906 seconds for the Mystic Warrior. Here comes the Mud Patrol. Paul Schaefer out of Portage, Indiana. The lights on top, a crowd favorite. Through the mud. Does he stop? Yes. He takes it sideways to avoid that disqualification line. The Mud Patrol. The lights are on. The mud is all over the place. And what a great run for Paul Schaefer and the Mud Patrol. Watch this. Turn it sideways. Yeah. He's in there. And the crowd gives him a big round of applause. The time, 1.929 seconds for Mud Patrol. So we're ready for the shootout with the four fastest here in Providence. Jeremy Finley and the S-kicker. Tony Friotti and Let's Boogie. Matt Ward, Mystic Warrior, and Paul Schaefer and the Mud Patrol. The fastest one through the mud gets the championship here in our shootout. First up is Jeremy Finley, our fastest qualifier out of Boone's Mill, Virginia, with the S-kicker. And Jeremy talks about that mud pit.
It's getting pretty bad there at the end. Hopefully we can do about the same we did the first round.
When you said pretty bad, what do you mean?
The starting line's getting real rutted up. The pit's staying good, but the starting line's going away.
And the starting line is where the S-kicker is right now. Jeremy's off the starting line, through the mud, and shuts it down. A good run for the S-kicker. He's waiting to find out his time. As we review it one more time, lifts up the front tires, skims over the mud, tries to avoid the pits and the finish line pole. And the S-kicker is through there with a time of 2.089 seconds.